Hi Fernanda, how are you?
Hi Sofía, I'm fine and you?
Fine, thanks. Did you watch the news?
Yes, the students in Chile are once again marching for education.
Yes, I think that is really important because quality education here is very expensive.
I agree. And free education is not what it should be.
Do you know how the educational system works in Australia, for example?
Yes, I know that in Australia obligatory education is divided in two sections, elementary and high school.
Mm. In Chile has three levels: initial education, basic education, and higher education.
And the years that we study are different too, because in Australia 12 years are compulsory.
Oh, in Chile 13 years are mandatory.
And in both countries university is optional.
Yes, but I heard that in Australia education is free, right?
Yes, in Australia all education is free.
That's nice. In Chile, if you want to study at university, you must pay for it.
Yes, that's really sad.
Exactly, because many students want to continue with their studies, but because they don't have enough money, they can't do it.
Well, I know that Australia has private or independent schools that are usually owned and operated by individuals or entities, and public schools are run through the Australian government, yeah,
Mm.
and has a public system too. How does that work here in Chile?
Here we have both system, private and public system. When we were children, we could apply for the free public system, but in the university, no matter which it is, you have to pay. We do have scholarships, but it is not for everyone.
Oh, and from your point of view, do you think that here in Chile technologies are well used in the education process, or
Hmm.
after the pandemic we had an improvement related with the implementation of technological support and supplies inside the classroom, or for you it was good even before that?
Well, I think that in Chile we don't have enough development about technology in the classrooms because materials like interactive boards or even computers are not in every school. For example, in Linares, countryside schools don't have enough money to spend on those kinds of things.
Well, from my experience, countryside schools are the ones that receive more social help,
Oh,
resources, and to be honest, usually families that go to that kind of education centers are richer than the ones that don't. From my reality in that world, they do have enough money to invest in improving technology.
oh, well, I believe as it is true that Chilean government gives some subsidies, like for example, the ones that they gave during the pandemic when they gave a series of books called Yo sé leer or I know how to read for those who doesn't speak Spanish to some kids from rural schools and some specific material for every and each levels until the last one that wasn't and isn't enough because we still have some serious issues about socioeconomic inequalities.
Although those differences are clear, that goes deeper and shallower from the things that their government gives. It goes through the way of how that money is spent, and it is a reality that the percent that really goes to where it's needed isn't enough. So the whole
Hmm.
educational community needs to find another way to get those resources, even when that should be entirely provided and assured by the administration and local councils.
But in Linares are a lot of countryside educational establishments that still has problems like distance, communities like Mantencillos. There are two Hierbas Buenas where the internet connection remains awful and for pandemic times that was a huge issue because even when students want to take their lessons, they couldn't because of their bad internet connections.
Well, as you said, that might have been a problem during online classes, but if we focus on the things we can fix, right now in presential classes, there are many different ways to use technology, even without the
Hmm.
internet, and that is not a problem anymore. For example, in Chile, there is full internet coverage, and with Wi Fi or even modems that cover the whole island. Nowadays, almost every single person has a cell phone, and with it, you can do tons of things and activities even without the internet.
Yes, the end of the pandemic was a relief because the classes didn't depend on internet connection, and that is very positive. Now, they just depend on the huge distances between their homes and their schools. And even when we assume that they all have the resources to get a cell phone, that is an irrational logic because in some places, vulnerables and rurals, where they have more than one child, where things need to be divided in more than just two, even though they want to. Having a cell phone or a computer is not a priority.
We need to remember that even when technology is here and almost everything is digitalized, we still have paper and we're completely capable of doing the same thing in the old fashioned way. So one thing doesn't take apart the other, just tries to make things easier, and in some ways and activities that is going to work, in many others it won't. So that is the kind of magic of having two completely different but complementary ways to do the same work.
Mm, There are a lot of ways to read and get great teaching material with support of the technology, and not having the opportunity of using this resource is an enormous disadvantage because on the internet there are many solutions, softwares and applications to teach and even more meaningful than the old methods.
Yeah, that's a very strong point, but I still think that the technology is everywhere and the use is simpler than what you think. For example, in Chile, almost every establishment has a web page where parents
Mm,
or guardians can see the progress and grades of their child. On the other hand, there are a lot of projects that school can apply to finance their new resources like computers, and often the community is very helpful about education and is willing to do donations.
wow, this is cool. Based on what I heard of your region, their countryside schools are truly support in relation to the economy, but from what I see, hear and know about the situation here is very different.
But there is nothing to do about it because the administration of the resources is up to the regional council, and after that, the local council. And in that point is where the decision about where the money is going should be taken part of where it's needed.
Exactly. And a solution for that would be to support the whole community in the same way and with transparent equality.
Yes, I think that the government should assure those conditions.
We are finally on the same side. It was really nice to talk with you.
I wish I could say the same. Just kidding. Talk to you later.